with enough presence mastery, you gain a spiritual connection. And that's the start of it. Remember, we talked before in the other webinars that a physical experience becomes a spiritual experience with enough presence, with enough focus, with enough I amness. Where are you? What are you? Oh, you're touching this log. Are you feeling it spiritually, or are you feeling it physically? Well, where are you? If you're thinking about your life and you're lost somewhere in your freaking egoic thoughts, well, then I guarantee you, you're not connected to it. But if your mind is silenced and shut and still, and the bulk of your presence is focused in how this tree stump feels against the palm of your hand, and your presence is projected into that sensation, and you're quiet and you're not thinking, and your heart is one with it, then there's a magic that happens. That surface level connection disappears. It like melts, and your consciousness projects through your hand, starts to disperse into the wood. Or you can draw that backwards with your breath, and the molecules of the wood start to disperse into your arm up here. You start to smell it like other people will be able to smell wood in your hand. You start to feel like you're becoming the very essence of wood. That's presence mastery in order to obtain a spiritual connection. Now, there's different levels of spiritual connection. The level that we're going for, that is needed to manifest the tree of life, is what I call the living water. So these are the different densities of spiritual energy. We come from ether. We come from ether. Ether is lighter than air. Lighter is not superior. Lighter is not superior. In the general New Age spiritual community, they think lighter is better. Nope, opposite. Nope, opposite. They think density is bad. Nope, sorry, you're wrong. What is density? Density is a shitload of light, right? E equals mc squared. So they consider matter to be like crude, and there's not much energy in matter. Like, there's so much more energy in my free-floating spirit. Bullshit. Bullshit. You just don't have enough presence mastery to be one with matter, because you're a flighty spiritual consciousness. You know, you would rather not be in the body. You'd rather be floating in your infinite bliss. So you're not present enough to know that inside this little chunk of matter, inside this little chunk of rock, is enough energy to blow up the frickin' world. Like a little chunk of uranium, which is a highly unstable element. If we break that, it makes a frickin' nuclear bomb. So this is a little chunk of highly unstable matter, equates to how much light? Like, wow, not just light, but love. So yes, density is superior. Density is a shit load of light. And I kept emphasizing the word highly unstable, because stable matter has so much more energy than unstable matter. We just don't make nuclear bombs out of stable molecular structures because we don't yet have the technology or the understanding, thank God, to destabilize them. But a stable molecular structure, if its atoms were to be split, would make what we know as nuclear bombs be like a joke. So they're E equals mc squared. The density is where it's at. It requires work. It requires presence. It requires I amness. So it very much appeals to, this is the adversarial consciousness at work, with the pride and the laziness in the spiritual community. Oh, my higher self is from the 12th dimension. You know, I'm an Arcturian. You know, my mission is I'm here. I'm already evolved, you see. I'm here to help humanity evolve. I'm already a 12th dimensional being of 12-strand DNA. This is the adversarial spirit playing on their pride and their complacency and their laziness to rest on the laurels of the higher self, of the spiritual being. We are all here for the same reason, and that is to be born. That is to be human and to be born in the most divine paradigm that God has yet given us, because this is the greatest density of energy that our consciousness has yet attempted to penetrate. E equals mc squared, okay? So I don't care if they're from the 12th dimension. I don't even know what that means. I don't even understand a dimension past 5. I don't care how many strands their DNA has, what starseed family they might be from. You are here to be human. You are here because this is the next stage in your evolution. You don't have a mission for humanity. You have a mission of humanity. You are here to be human. And that naturally coincides with, yes, you do have a mission to help humanity, but you're only going to do that through your own humanity yourself. So, yeah, pretty passionate about that, because it really bothers me, these clever ass spirits, adversarial spirits working on pride and complacency. They're very good at it. I'm sure you all have friends, the masters of the universe they've already done everything, and they already create everything. They're already been there, done that. There's nothing new under the sun for them, and they support each other with their back and forth talk about how amazing their higher selves are. And I was there, okay? I've been there. I've done that. I'm not immune to it. I've definitely gone through my battles of pride. Pride was one of my main things. Sometimes I can be an arrogant ass. So I've been there. I know. I'm not trying to, well, I am trying to be judgmental, but I'm not excluding myself from that same judgment. So the adversarial spirit will convince you through pride, complacency, and laziness to keep you off of the path of evolution. But it's all here. It's all now. It's all in this body, in this world, and it's all obtained through presence mastery. Don't be there, be here. So we came from ether, which is what started all of the sidetrack of important thought. We came from ether. Ether is lighter than air. Lighter is lesser. I was going to say inferior, but it's just different. It's lesser. It's more spread out. It's the same thing, just way more spread out, not as compressed, not as actualized. So ether is an echo or an emanation of the air. The air makes the ether, okay? Within the ether, what we call etheric is a whole stream of different densities. There isn't just ether, which is one density lighter than the other. What we call ether, there's a whole series of elemental progression within that as well. Then we have water. Water and air are the same thing. Water is wet air. Air is dry water. I know molecularly speaking that air and water are composed of different things. That's a third dimensional truth and a valid one. But the superior fifth dimensional truth is this is all the same exact thing. Do you know what it is? It's the spirit of God being represented in different densities of compression. So water is the same thing as air in a greater density. Air is an echo or an emanation of water. Solid matter or crystal, if you imagine something clear and perfected like a diamond, but it's even harder, more solid than that, that is the father and the mother of water. Crystal, solidity, okay? Well, there's densities even greater than that, but we don't have to focus there. What we're going for is oneness with water. So we came from ether, and as etheric beings, we can't even control, we can't move air, we can't be one with air. That's why we were born inside of a human body, to expose ourselves to greater levels of elemental embodiment. Air and water and earth, solidity, solid matter, crystal, okay? These are all the same thing in three different density levels of compression. It's the spirit, the energy, the body of God is what these elements are. So our spirit could not even move air. Before we were embodied as a human, we could not do aerokinesis. We could not manifest ourselves in the density of air. It was like a brick wall that our consciousness could not even penetrate. We were like babies floating in ether, okay? Consciousness is like electricity. In the greater density of elemental structures, the particles are closer together, more particles per square inch. If you know anything about electricity or electronics, the superior conductors, gold for instance, it's a superior conductor because it has a tighter molecular complex, so the atoms and the molecules vibrate within each other. It's better conductivity. The greater the density, the better the electrical conduit it is, which is why they make all the circuits out of gold. That's like the gold and copper. So the greater the density, the better of an electrical conductor an element is. Well, the same thing with consciousness. The greater the density that the consciousness is in, the greater conductor of consciousness that it is. So when you're in the ether and you're not in your body, you are. I am. Yes, you are. But how I am are you? Well, if you're an etheric-based consciousness, not very much. Like, yes, you are. And I hear you stating your I amness, and I look at you and you're holding some substance to yourself. Yes, you are. Good job. Namaste, but not very much. And yes, you are self-expressive, but not that complex. Yes, you feel, you have emotions, but they're not that intense. They're just not much to you until you were born as a human and birthed within this. And now here you are in your human body, and you're like, I am. And it's like God's looking at you and going, yeah, you are. Like, yeah, compared to what you were, you're like 100 times more I am than you were as this baby-ass little etheric 12-dimensional Arcturian spirit. You're like a lot more now, as you're human. Like, it's actually pretty impressive. Well, as you begin to develop in your energy mastery and you become one with the air, and you become one with the water, and you become one with the ether, you present yourself to God or to others. I am. It's like, holy fuck, yes you are. You're like a pillar of fire. Your emotions are like freaking intense and harmonic at the same time. Stable, intense. Your ability to be self-centered in a righteous way. You are highly conscious. You are aware of vast streams of data all at the same time. So the greater the density, the better the conductor of consciousness. So